Turn off my phone.
Get my papers out. Where's my pen? Get this.
Okay, we will call the Village of Mount Sterling Council meeting for September 25th, 2023 to order with roll call, please.
David?
Here.
Bill? Joyce?
Here.
Becky?
Here.
Ross?
Here.
Andy?
Here.
And could we have a motion to excuse Bill from the meeting?
I'll
I
give you
got
that.
motions.
Oh,
Hello, everybody. Hello.
there we are. Bill, wherever you are, you got a lot of motions.
All right, so let's do this again, Bill.
Could I have a motion, in one motion, to excuse Bill? Okay,
David first,
and Russ.
Ross?
Yeah. Roll call, please.
David?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Thank you. David, would you like one of these in prayer, please?
Lord, thank you today you provided for us in our village today, Lord. And Lord, be of our country today and our law enforcement and our fire department, be of council and our mayor as we discuss big issues and discuss things, and give us the wisdom and the power of your glory and glorious name. In Jesus, amen.
Amen. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America
and
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Now I'd like a motion to approve the meeting minutes from a meeting held on September 11th, 2023.
Ross?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
David?
David?
Roll call?
Bill? David?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Ross?
Yeah.
Andy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That takes us to mayor's report. The only thing I have, I think I'll probably just bring up in round table possibly. Yeah,
Okay.
so we'll go President Pro Tem, Mr. Drake.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the progress of the legislation we have tonight. It makes our village a great place, and it's a mark that we're growing. We're not fading into the woodwork, and I'm super excited that more homes potentially could be built here. They add the right type of development that we need. We need more families here. We will take every family. We love families, and now's the time. So please consider supporting it this evening, and let's get going. That's all I have for tonight.
Okay, thank you. Any public comments from visitors? No? Okay, executive session, we have none. Department reports, sheriff report, Mr. Dill, please.
Oh, no.
All right, I don't have a whole lot, just the nature report you have in front of you. If you look at the numbers at the bottom, it's going down. Kids are back in school. Not saying they're bad, but does anybody have any questions on it?
Where was the fire outside for the smoke investigation? Was that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think that was one on Jefferson.
Was that the one, the
Long
dryer
dryer.
then? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
Any questions for Jack?
Nobody has any questions, huh? Thank
Too
you very
easy, huh?
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Easy Law director, anything that you have? Village administrator, Mr. Byrne, please.
Thank you, Mayor Darlington, members of council. I really have nothing to report on this week, so if there's any questions.
Hey, Tom, is there anything they can do for that big bump on Spring Street? It's across there. People's been telling about, Andy, you've probably seen it too. Yeah.
The section was removed to lay, I believe it's sewer line?
Yeah, yes.
For that new house,
For the,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll check that out. That's gonna be a owner's issue right there.
Yeah, I had a couple people told me, one person said they're hitting it so hard they kind of jarred, and
That's not a Durapatch problem, right? That's a street itself.
Well, the Durapatch has been put to bed till spring, so we'll have to look at that.
That was like what he's saying is a contractor issue.
Yeah,
Okay.
it certainly is, because
It
it's
wasn't a
sunk.
village issue.
It's sunk, yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's about the third time I think it's sung, so. We'll check it out.
Okay.
Anything
thank you.
else? Thank you.
Okay, quiet evening then so far, huh? Zoning and building, anybody have anything to report?
No, Andy will have something later in planning.
Fiscal officer, that would be you.
I don't have a lot either, so let's go ahead and get this meeting rolling, right? Okay, so, budget is coming up. We met with our last committees for me to start creating the budget for 2024, as we talked about. Everything is balanced, expenditures are under budget and revenues are above. I also have, to report to you guys the, August, bank rec. There were no adjustments made on here. Everything was balanced to the penny and to the dollar. And I will ask if I can have a motion, if there's no questions from council, to approve the appropriation status report, the revenue status report, the receipt listing report, the payment listing report, the comparison of budget and appropriated report, the cash summary by fund report, the reader report, and then the bank reconciliation for August of 2023.
You
Have
have,
that motion?
I'll second.
Joyce was first,
And then Andy,
and then Andy.
roll call?
Okay, Joyce,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Okay, so I have 3 pieces of documentation for you guys to obtain your signatures, and I think I have a end of my report.
Okay. Committee reports, finance, Andy.
We last met on September the 7th, so our next meeting will be on October the 4th. Things that are immediately top of mind. So we continue to watch the status of funds, individual discrete funds across our budget to make sure that they're pointed the right direction. We do forecasting, and there are ones that we get into the fourth quarter and we need to make sure that are being appropriately handled. And so if we have to tighten up spending in one or the other, we'll come back to this council and make sure that we get your permission to do so. And I'll be honest, you know, things that keep us up at night are things like an auto strike affecting one of our major employers here in town. So that's a big deal, and that affects both income tax and it affects water use. And so we try to stay on top of that, and yeah, it will eventually trickle down to the bottom line, and it's really, really, really important to stay on top of those. So those are things that are on my mind. We will be meeting next October the 4th at 2:30.
Okay. And the report back from the employer today was still nothing, fingers crossed, so
That's what we like,
yeah. Hopefully that'll remain that way.
hopefully.
Pleasant Township, David.
I don't have a meeting until next week, so I'll have a report then.
Okay, squad, Joyce.
Yes, we did meet, and it wasn't a very long meeting. They have several applicants that they voted on to approve volunteers, so we have several of those. The actual date for the new truck has been moved. We might not even get that in 2024. So
Really?
it is what it is. It's parts on back order and stuff. So it's not anything surprising, actually. So that's all I have for squad. Paid the bills and approved the volunteers that applied. And, yeah, it was a short meeting.
Okay, thank you. Fire, Ross.
I don't have anything. Our next meeting's this coming Thursday at 8 o'clock.
I did speak with Chief Taylor during the month of October. October 8th starts the week of fire preparedness. Is that what I want to say? Yeah. And so that's a Sunday. Him and I talked about sitting out front and passing out information. He's ordered stuff that we could pass out, and I'm trying to get maybe some touch of trucks and just a few things just for like 1 to 3 o'clock. But I'll have some more information as soon as we shore that up.
Mayor, do you have a sense as to whether or not, at one point, they were handing out fire detectors, smoke detectors for lower-income residents? Are those still
I
under?
don't know. I can
Still on
ask
the
him.
sign.
Okay, okay.
I can ask him that.
Yep.
And of course, we're gonna put something out too for their kids' Christmas fund too. So that's something we'll be doing in October as well. Water, wastewater, Joyce.
Yes, we met this evening before council, and we have some wish lists from the county that we discussed. We discussed our meters. We are down to having 8 meters. I'm excited. Tom and his staff have been doing a really good job about getting those meters replaced. We just have to work on the final 8, which we have a plan in place for those as well. Other than that, we are in the middle of forecasting some things. Working on budget issues for next year has encompassed a lot of our time, and that's all I have from water.
Okay, thank you. Street, Becky.
Yes, we don't have another meeting until October the 9th at 6:30. I'm gonna speak of the, event we just had this weekend, but when I was out there, I did notice the sidewalks condition, grass coming up through the sidewalks, rocks and pebbles and stuff in the streets, and, you know, we got out the shovels and the, brooms and stuff, but, I'm hoping we can get that street sweeping soon. If not, we may have to go back to the old-fashioned way and ask residents and businesses to help sweep the streets in front of their businesses, because they're really accumulating a lot of rubbish and stuff. So I'm going to pay special attention to that coming up, and hopefully we can attend to it. And I did take a look also, because I was down there on the streets, literally, the taping that we did of a lot of the businesses here on London Street. We used a special new kind of tape. Some of it's holding up really well. You can tell where people park more often is starting to wear away. We're gonna have to, with the street crew and Tom, take a real good look at it and see if we think it's, you know, worth, you know, doing some more of that, or if painting is a better method. But we will have that meeting and look at those things October the 9th at 6:30.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Parks and Rec then, also Becky.
Okay. We also changed our meeting to, it's still October the 9th, but it is at 6 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock. We just had an event at the park. Sunday, we hosted youth softball tournaments. Jeff worked really hard out there. Those fields look amazing. He got Field 4 done, which we kind of refer to sometimes as a T-ball field, and the American Legion field. It's immaculate. It's amazing. It used to be sitting underwater, and he's really put a lot of time and effort and fundraising into getting those fields looking great. Kathy Carson and her board for the Youth League were out there fundraising hard. They were out there for hours. I was able to help for a little while, but they are fundraising for the youth for more athletic opportunities and events, and I want to thank the whole board for that. And also, they're putting on the trunk or treat. I just want to remind everybody that's not until October the 27th, Friday night at 5 to 7 p.m. But also, the softball group that came out there collected parking as part of their fundraiser, and they did split that with Parks and Rec. So I do have tonight $270 that I've given to Courtney that I'd like to accept into the Parks and Rec fund. This was only a one-day event because they only had 8 teams, but they already have 17 teams for the October event, and they're hoping to get 24. So it could be triple the amount of people. And I will tell you, parking is a huge issue. I know we keep saying that, but it's an issue that's just not going to go away. And they're wanting to expand sports and have some other sports too, to make sports go more around the year. So that is something that Parks and Rec will be looking at as well soon. And I think that's,
So your motion was a
Oh,
donation
yeah.
from the softball tournament to go to the Parks and Rec Fund and act as revenues, and also to be expended from Parks and Rec. That was $270.
yes,
Yeah.
that's my motion.
Andy, with a second?
Okay.
Yeah. Roll call?
Joyce?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes?
David?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Record retention, Andy.
Yeah, our next meeting is going to be October 6th at 8 a.m. Be there, be square. Love to see you.
Nuisance and abatement, Joyce.
Thank you. We also met this evening at 5 o'clock. We talked about budgets, of course, and wish list, And we talked about the land bank funds. I'm pleased to report that Andy shared with us that we have been approved for up to $40,000 for, it's a fund that would assist us in abandoned properties. I just want to make sure I'm explaining this right. So for example, we have a house in the community that's in probate, and if it comes to fruition and we get approved, then that would go to the land bank and they will cover the cost to demolish that house. That's the only one that we have really slated right now. I can think of a couple more that might move forward next, going maybe next year, hopefully. But right now, that's the only one that we're really looking at to hopefully get done soon. Well, not in the next month or two, but early next year, maybe. So, getting a report of some additional campers that are popping up within the village, so we're gonna follow up on that. I've been working with Jack, and they're helping us as much as they can try to control that issue. We talked also about what Becky touched on with the streets as far as in regards to nuisance noxious weeds with the grass getting high, and we discussed how we're going to approach that. And I believe we're going to work with Tom on, and also with streets, since Becky's already brought that up, and getting it sprayed, I believe, is what we're going to try to approach, and maybe get the entire village done as needed, because it is starting to look really bad. And that was brought up in the Nuisance and Abatement Committee for the noxious weeds. So we're going to move forward with that. We do have on October 14th, we are opening the street garage for 3 hours, from 9 a.m. to noon. We are going to have it open to the public. Someone will be monitoring so that everyone that comes in must be a resident of our village. And there are items that are specifically mentioned in our newsletter that Marcy so graciously put together for us that you cannot bring. And it's the same list as always. You cannot bring tires, TVs, paint, refrigerator, AC units, or any electrical items. So we're not gonna have a full-blown cleanup day. We're just gonna open the street garage to give the residents an opportunity to take any unwanted items out to the garage. And I think that's all we have. The next meeting will be October 23rd at 5 o'clock.
Thank you. We'll pass over safety block watch since Bill's not
Okay.
here. Planning, Andy.
Yeah, excuse me. We last met on August 22nd to consider the legislation that you have before you later on tonight. We'll be meeting actually tomorrow night. I think that's at 6 p.m., isn't it?
That's correct.
Okay, which would be a proposed rezoning of the Ray Adams subdivision from R1 to R3, which is consistent with other property immediately around it. So we're looking forward to hopefully moving that and continuing growth of the village. Like I said, our next one is September the 26th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Zoning, Becky.
Yes, we have nothing.
Ready? And tree beautification.
Nothing. I did reach out to a few members today and trying to get some consensus when everybody can get together, at least the majority. It's looking like we're going to try to shoot for one day next week, but we will let Courtney know so she can get it posted wherever it needs to be.
Okay, thank you. That takes us to ordinances and resolutions. Would you like to read
Okay, again,
once?
this is gonna be on the second reading. Council is not to discuss this, there is no discussion. I will not ask for a motion. I will not ask for approval. This is only to be read on second reading. And this is ordinance 2023-09, an ordinance for the rezoning of lots 1 through 17 in the Ray Adams subdivision for a R1 to an R3. Second reading.
Okay, thank you. That takes us to roundtable. Who wants to go first?
Oh, I want to bring up the Farm Science Review, which is one of the biggest ones in the country. And it's worth your time to take a look at the technology that's come into farming. Tractors that go by themselves, the computerization. If anything else, it's an education. You're not even a farmer. And I also want to bring up during the car show, there was several different American Legion members had their cars there, and I was down there, and they took time to look at our monument and our flags, and they all noticed we still, first ones have the Space Force flag, which makes me feel, we're even ahead of Lancaster in that, so it made me feel good. And also, if you gotta go and see the Governor Bricker's desk at the museum, that is something usually that you'd have to go to see it at the Smithsonian. That we are so fortunate to have that desk at our museum. And if you got the time, it's worth seeing. That desk saw a lot of things from World War II on, so if you got the time, go and see it.
Very good.
I know, you looked at me like you knew I would, yes. I just want to mention the street market, which also took place this weekend. It was a street market and car shows David alluded to. It was really great. We had, I believe, 48 or 49 vendors. I mean, that's more than doubled. And then we had 72 cars and trucks in little Mount Sterling. So that was pretty awesome. And I know they also had a motorcycle run of some sort going at Hammer Time was one of the stops as well, so that's great. I really want to thank Barbie Wallace, who organized that show. It's grown into, a really great event, and like David said, it brings a lot of people to our community, of course, to feed our economy, but also to see our monuments and see our flags. And, it is inspiring, and it's nice to hear people, bragging about Mount Sterling. I want to thank Jeff, George, Joe, and Tom for their work putting up the signs and the roadblocks and taking them all down, the trash and everything else that went with that. And David for coming out. I saw him walking up and down the street several times. And Courtney for feeding our economy like she always does and comes and shops at the vendor. So I really appreciate that. I just want to say it was a great event, and appreciate everyone that did come out to it.
Anyone else?
I'll give a shout out to the Community Center Fun Run, which is coming up in just about 2 weeks. I've done it twice. All I can say is you do not have to be a long distance runner in order to do it. If you're a walker like I am, go have fun. Hopefully we'll have good weather. We're signed up. Please, please, please consider going out for it. It is a great time to be had by all. So, and I think you get a T-shirt too. So
You
there you
do,
go.
and I know the gentleman that's making them.
I noticed they had something posted about, are they starting to do recycling? At the community center?
I do not know.
I just saw it yesterday on
Okay.
Facebook, and it was, I thought it said community center on it. But I guess we can bring that up if we get a little more clarification. So we did put together a newsletter. I mean, it has most of the things from now till the end of the year. I still working on Make a Difference Day stuff for the month of October, which starts next week.
Going quick.
So we'll be doing fundraising for the park, fundraising for the food pantry, and fundraising for the fire department's Christmas drive. The mayors of the county have all agreed again to do the challenge for the food challenge, which will start on October 15th and run through the 21st. So that'll be a Sunday through a Saturday, and we will have be collecting stuff out front on that Saturday, and then the following, that's Sunday and then following Saturday. So start on the 15th, and then we'll do it again on the 21st. But anybody can bring stuff to Village Hall, and we'll make sure, that we get it counted. We can do cash donations. I think they'd probably prefer to have checks, or you can go online and, for the community center anyway, and I think they have a platform there that you can donate there. And I'm working on some Sweetest Day, which is that Saturday, the 21st. Maybe we can do some fundraising that we could use for donations to the park with some, last minute Sweetest Day items, maybe some cookies and some flowers and things of that nature. But again, I'm just, I'm in a little bit of a slower mode than I have been in the past, so you'll have to bear with me, but we will get some things done and have a fun October. We'll have our own little October fest. So that's all.
One last thing I wanted, sorry.
Yep.
Meet the Candidates Night. I want to remind everyone again, that's October the 10th. Exactly 1 month before election night. It's Tuesday, and it is at the Mercantile. They host it at 7 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
And I gotta say this, I gotta reach out for the Buckeyes. We took care of the Fighting Irish.
Yeah.
I have one thing.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Leaves, they're turning, trees are turning, leaves are falling, they're beautiful, but not in our sewers, not in the gutters. So, you know, you have, for example, Mick and I, we don't have trees, but yet we get a lot of leaves, okay? In our yard, our responsibility, in front of our house, we will see that they're cleaned up, they're all along the curb. So just please bear in mind that, let's keep our yards nice, as we have been doing. And, I know there's a lot of yards being decorated right now, that's great, just make sure that when you take down those decorations, they go in the proper trash receptacles, not in the sewers. So I just want to throw that out there for people to be safe. Kids are going to be out and about. It's a great time of year, a lot of stuff going on. Looking forward to it. That's all I have.
Anyone else? All right, thank you everyone for a brief but powerful meeting.
Yes, thank you.
See you next time.
Informational meeting.
Yes.